What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Some Joe Schmo. We are on our third movie that we're going to be discussing that was my favorite of October. You guys have already seen the first two. If you guys have not already done so, well then, I mean, what's the point then anymore, huh, guys? What's the point of even going on anymore? But before we even get into that, I just want to, once again, tell you guys, thank you so much for tuning on in. It's been such a great experience just, making these videos for you guys. And, I hope you guys have been enjoying them. I'm enjoying putting them together myself. And, yeah, it's just giving me a newfound purpose to bring you guys some high-quality content. We're going to be jumping into our third pick here today. But before we do that, guys, give that like button a nice spot at the gym. And once you're done with that, go ahead and, give them a nice little tap. And maybe, just go ahead and, coddle that subscribe button. Let them know that you're always going to be there for him. Rather than just constantly peppering, constant slams and hits on him, just let him know that, hey, you've got a friend. Our last movie of October that I really enjoyed is going to be the 1960 French drama horror, Eyes Without a Face. I wanted to pick something that was a little bit more, aged, like a nice fine Chianti. Apparently, when this movie was released in 1960, it almost didn't get a European release because of how controversial this movie was. And because it was so controversial, it actually received an edited version for a United States release. Which is actually kind of funny when you think about how far we've come with horror movies nowadays. I mean, we have, movies where activists are being eaten alive by cannibals and, pooping in their own cages and whatnot. It's... Eyes Without a Face was released in 1960 and was directed by Georges Franju. Nailed it. And revolves around the story of Dr. Genesier, played by... I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to stop with the names. I'm going to butcher them and really do no justice of these, so I apologize. The story revolves around Dr. Genesier dealing with the guilt and the fallout of a car accident that left his once beautiful daughter a mangled mess. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, it's no big deal. These accidents happen from time to time. I'm sure it was just nothing he could have done about it. Well, how would you feel if you were the one that was driving the car that led to the accident? Boom, baby. Hell, I feel bad when I'm, have to suddenly hit my brakes and, the passenger's in the seat next to me and I gotta do that awkward, arm in front of you maneuver to try to pretend like I'm gonna protect you from flying 50 miles into the glass, when in reality you're probably gonna do that and break my arm in the process, and then I'm gonna resent you for all time. And, well, at the end of the day, I still don't have health insurance. The movie has a few, Frankenstein elements to it. Because of the doctor and, the guilt that he's dealing with, he tries to deal with the situation as best as he can, and that's by, doing doctor stuff. Throughout the movie, we see that Dr. Genesier is actually abducting women who have kind of similar facial structures to his daughter in hopes of potentially removing them and transplanting them onto his daughter's face. Now, I'm not a doctor by any means. Oui. But I'm pretty sure this is an operation that's possible. I've seen Face Off. I know what's happening. Face. It's a simple surgery. You just cut around it and wham bam, thank you ma'am. Slap a band-aid on that sucker and you're good to go. Even for a 1960s movie, the plot actually dives into a lot of social aspects that nowadays a lot of us still struggle with. Unobtainable beauty. The constant need for social acceptance, please subscribe to my channel. Oh God, please just leave a comment and tell me how good I am. One thing I do want to shout out to this movie is that for a 1960s movie, and this is just from my uncultured opinion, there are a few scenes in which are filmed really exceptional. From the camera angles and even the lighting in certain areas. Even for a black and white movie, you can really tell that a lot of passion was put into this film. Now, the daughter for most of the movie is actually wearing a white mask to cover up this, mangled mess of a face that she has. And, at first it doesn't feel like a very scary face that she's wearing, it just seems like a mask that she's wearing in order to cover up this. But it just has a sense of an eeriness to it. She wears a white mask to, cover up the scars of her face that was from the accident, but it's also a little eerie because you aren't really able to get any emotion from her as a character. With all of these social aspects that the movie does dive into, it's actually really difficult because of the mask to get a real feel for how her character is actually feeling about the whole situation. In one really cool scene though, Dr. Genesier is actually able to successfully transplant a face onto his daughter, and in a real cool time-lapse scene, we actually see that transplant is starting to fail, causing her face to once again become a mangled version of itself. This actually really hits you hard because you do see that the daughter is able to, live her life for just a brief moment, but then once you start to see the face decompose and then the aftermath in which, he has to remove the face again, it leaves her in such a vulnerable state. You know, part of you can't help but feel a sense of, you know, sympathy for the father.
Moi j'espère, c'est tout. Une réussite comme celle-là, bon Dieu.
That's why they call it acting.
The concept of him being the, you know, one responsible for driving the car only fuels his desire to want to be able to fix the situation, as I'm sure any father would want to do for his daughter. This actually results in him becoming sort of a mad scientist, like, and almost the daughter becoming the Frankenstein of the movie. You actually see him do experiments on dogs throughout the movie, attempting to do skin grafts and pretty much trying to replicate the process on a dog that he would, you know, potentially do on his daughter. This also fuels the daughter, and you know, in one specific scene, she actually goes down, sees the cages of all these dogs, and in turn, she kind of starts to feel now more of a monster than an actual daughter.
Sur moi ses expériences comme sur ses chiens. Un cobaye humain, quelle aubaine pour lui.
And it's through these constant experiments that pretty much drives the daughter mad. Speaking of which, the climax of the movie actually does have the daughter, to a certain extent, pretty much assuming the role of that monster. I really won't get into too much of spoilers, but I really do think you guys should just check it out for yourself. And I wouldn't be Some Joe Schmo without at least commenting on, you know, one negative aspect. And I really wouldn't say it was a negative aspect, more so that weird music choices for this film. I mean, maybe it's just me, maybe it's just because I've heard, you know, excellent soundtracks, you know, in my day, but yeah, the music was just the music was a little weird to me. I don't know. At the end of the day, what do I know? I'm just some Joe Schmo talking about movies.
Ah.
Anyway, guys, that was Eyes Without a Face, available right now on HBO Max. If you do have a subscription, go check it out. I promise you, it's a surprisingly decent find, and I enjoyed it thoroughly, so hopefully you will too. Anyways, guys, that's going to be the last movie in my 3-part series of my favorite movies that I watched in October. I hope you guys had a great time watching these, because I know, come next week, I'm going to have a terrible time making these, because we're going to be talking about our top 3 worst movies of October. I know you guys are going to have a fun time watching me go through the grind once again with those, and yeah, it's going to be a great time, so hopefully tune back in. I'm shooting for about Thursday once again, and then in turn, maybe we'll get some of those out throughout the rest of the weekend, but I wanted to thank you guys so much once again for tuning on in, and you know, I'm enjoying making these videos. I hope you guys are enjoying watching them. From the comments, I feel like you guys are, so yeah, with that being said, this is Some Joe Schmo, once again, out.
Non, non, partons. Je n'en peux plus.
Tais-toi.